So this is how I made my half-orc Druid Halloween costume for my DnD night / Halloween. So I didn't really have a concrete idea of what I was gonna make, but I did have this inspiration board to help. Here I have this faux velvet fabric that I got, and I'm just marking it and cutting it so it can fit into the shirt. I did a double layer, that way it can be sort of warm when I wore it. And I'm just fitting it to my body to see how I would want to sew it. Also wanted to mention that this is the first time that I've ever sewed a clothing item, so this was a really fun and experimental project. This is where I made a mistake. I sewed the right sides together and turned it inside out. It looked like a full-on pillowcase, and I did not want to wear that. So I unstitched it and I sewed the wrong and the right sides together so that it could just be a double layer. Then I sewed the fold that would have the string to go around my neck like a halter top. And right here I'm sewing the back side of the shirt. Also, I wasn't using a sewing pattern. This was all just eyeballing everything, so I think that was why it was so challenging to get the measurements right when making clothing. I learned always leave slack room. So even if you have to cut out more afterwards, just leave more room than you think you might need. Sewing is also like physics. You have to imagine what you're sewing is gonna look like. Like if you're trying to hide thread to make it invisible from the outside, then you have to fold your fabric and sew it in a way that will hide it. That definitely sounds so simple, but it's easier said than done. Hence why there are many different sewing methods. Like there's like French seams and different types of seams in order for you to get the effect that you want. This one was really fun to make, so I folded this fabric into a hot dog and then another hot dog fold to create the string that will go around my neck. I just pinned it and clipped it, and woo, let me tell you how many times I pricked my finger with these pins. It's so painful. So the shirt is finally coming together. I sewed each side and then I pulled the string around to create the halter. So what I forgot to show is that after I tried it on, it looked great, but to take it off was almost impossible. I had to rip the seam on the sides, and then I added 2 buttons so that I could take it off and on easily. These were the cuffs before I added fur. I wanted to dye white cloth into like an off-white, so I used mustard and it actually worked. I didn't film how I made that finished loincloth, but essentially just sewed like a loose belt around myself. It was kind of a lengthy process, but here is my final costume. I'm so proud of it and I loved how it turned out, and it does give me confidence to tackle more clothing pieces. Let me know your thoughts.